We are in Genesis chapter 35.
Estamos en Génesis capítulo 35.
We see God sends Jacob to Bethel.
Dios envía a Jacob a Betel.
He builds an altar.
Él construye
y
altera. Él construye y altera.
Deborah, Rachel's nurse, dies.
Débora muere, la enfermera de Raquel.
I've got a mistake on that. That should he builds an altar. El construye
un altar.
Un altera. An altar instead of and. So un altar or una altera. Un altera. Okay. And then Rachel dies, giving birth to Benjamin.
Raquel muere al dar a luz a Benjamín.
Isaac dies.
Isaac muere.
As you can see, there's much happening in this chapter.
Como puedes ver, están sucediendo muchas cosas en este capítulo.
Genesis chapter 35 and verse 1.
Génesis capítulo 35, verso 1.
And God said unto Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God, that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother.
Dijo Dios a Jacob, levántate y sube a Betel y quédate ahí, y haz ahí un altar al Dios que te apareció cuando huías de tu hermano Esaú. Un altar, brother.
Un altar. Okay, gracias. God tells Jacob to go to Bethel and build him an altar.
Dios le dice a Jacob que vaya a Betel y le construye un altar.
Bethel means house of God. This is where Jacob had stopped on while fleeing Esau, Genesis 35:1, Genesis 28, and note especially verse 19 there.
Betel significa casa de Dios. Aquí es donde Jacob se había detenido mientras huía de Saúl. Génesis capítulo 35, verso 1, Génesis capítulo 28, nota el versículo 19.
Genesis chapter 35, verses 2 through 5.
Génesis capítulo 35, verso 2 al 5.
Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments, and let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the oak which was in Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob.
Verso 2 al 5. Entonces Jacob dijo a su familia y a todos los que con él estaban, Quitad los dioses ajenos que hay entre vosotros y limpiaos y mudad vuestros vestidos. Y levantémonos y subamos a Betel y haré ahí altar al Dios que me respondió en el día de mi angustia y ha estado conmigo en el camino que he andado. Así dieron a Jacob todos los dioses ajenos que había en poder de ellos y los zarcillos y que estaban en sus orejas, y Jacob los escondió debajo de un encina que estaba junto a Siquem. Y salieron, y el terror de Dios estuvo sobre las ciudades que había en sus alrededores, y no persiguieron a los hijos de Jacob.
Everything okay there, Bill? Huh? Everything okay?
Yeah, you can see if this is the King James version.
Well, the ones we have in here are King James Version.
Okay. It was not the New King James, and I wanted to, in verse 4 there, what, see if you said oak.
It says oak in the King James, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because it says another word here, and which would be the meaning for oak.
Jacob prepares his family and servants by telling them to put away their gods and cleanse themselves.
Jacob prepara a su familia, a sus siervos, diciéndoles que dejen de lado a sus dioses y se limpien.
He takes their false gods and earrings and hides them under a tree.
Toma sus dioses falsos y sus aretes y los esconde debajo de un árbol. Ellos parten.
And they depart. Notice the terror of God was upon those around them.
Observe que el terror de Dios estaba sobre quienes los rodeaban.
He was protecting Jacob and his family.
Estaba protegiendo a Jacob y su familia.
Genesis chapter 35, verses 6 through 15.
Génesis capítulo 35, versos 6 al 15.
So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is, Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar and called the place El Bethel, because there God appeared unto him when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak, and the name of it was called Allen Bakuth. And God appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Paddan Aram, and blessed him. And God said unto him, Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. Nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac to thee will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. And God went up from him in the place where he talked with him, and Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone, and he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon, and Jacob called the name of the place where God spake with him, Bethel.
Versos 6 al 15. Y llegó Jacob a Luz, que está en tierra de Canaán, esta es Betel, él y todo el pueblo que con él estaba. Y edificó ahí un altar y llamó al lugar el Betel, porque ahí le había aparecido Dios cuando oía de su hermano. Entonces murió Débora, ama de Rebeca, y fue sepultada al pie de Betel, debajo de una encina, la cual fue llamada Alon Bakut. Apareció otra vez Dios a Jacob cuando había vuelto de Padam Aram, y le bendijo. Y le dijo Dios, tu nombre es Jacob, no se llamará más tu nombre Jacob, sino Israel será tu nombre, y llamó su nombre Israel. También le dijo Dios, yo soy el Dios omnipotente, crece y multiplícate, una nación y conjunto de naciones procederán de ti, y reyes saldrán de tus lomos. La tierra que he dado a Abraham y a Isaac la daré a ti y a tu descendencia. Después de ti daré la tierra. y se fue de él Dios del lugar en donde había hablado con él. Y Jacob erigió una señal en el lugar donde había hablado con él, una señal de piedra, y derramó sobre ella libación, y echó sobre ella aceite, y llamó Jacob el nombre de aquel lugar donde Dios había hablado con él, Betel.
They traveled to Luz, which was Bethel.
Viajaron a Luz, que era Betel.
Jacob builds the altar and calls the place El Bethel.
Jacob construye el altar y llama al lugar El Betel.
El Bethel means the God of Bethel,
El Betel significa el Dios de Betel,
or the God of the house of God.
o el Dios de la casa de Dios.
God appears to Jacob and blesses him again.
Dios se aparece a Jacob y lo bendice nuevamente.
God changes his name from Jacob to Israel.
Dios cambia su nombre de Jacob a Israel.
Jacob means heel catcher.
Jacob significa guardatacones.
Israel means he will rule as God.
Israel significa él gobernará como Dios.
There is something in a name.
Hay algo en un nombre.
Jacob worships God.
Jacob adora a Dios.
Deborah, Rachel's nurse, dies and is buried. Verse 8.
Débora, la nodriza de Raquel, muere y es enterrada. Verso 8.
In Genesis chapter 35, verses 16 through 19.
En Génesis capítulo 35, versos 16 al 19.
And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrath. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni, or Benoni. Benoni. But his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died and was buried in the way to Ephrath, which is Bethlehem.
16 al 19. Después partieron de Betel y había aún como media legua de tierra para llegar a Efrata, cuando dio a luz Raquel y hubo trabajo en su parto. Y aconteció como había trabajo en su parto, que le dijo la partera, no temas, que también tendrás este hijo. Y aconteció que al salírsele el alma, pues murió. Llamó su nombre Benoni, mas su padre lo llamó Benjamín. Así murió Raquel y fue sepultada en el camino de Éfrata, la cual es Belén.
Rachel gives birth to Benjamin and dies in childbirth.
Raquel da a luz a Benjamín y muere al dar a luz.
As she is dying, she names him Benoni, which means child of my sorrow.
Mientras agoniza lo llama Benoni, que significa hijo de mi dolor.
His father renames him Benjamin, son of the right hand.
Su padre le rebautiza Benjamín, hijo de la mano derecha.
Imagine your mother calling you son of her sorrow.
Imagina a tu madre llamándote hijo de su pena.
Would be very nice. In Genesis chapter 35, verses 21 through 28.
Génesis capítulo 35, verso 21 al 28.
And Israel journeyed and spread his tent beyond the tower of Ezer. And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah his father's concubine. And Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon and Levi and Judah and Issachar and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Paddan Aram. And Jacob came to Isaac his father unto Mamre, unto the city of Arba, which is Hebron, and where Abram and Isaac departed. And the days of Isaac were 160 years, verse 29. And Isaac gave up the ghost and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. That should be verse 29.
Verso 21,
Al 20.
verso 21 al 29. Y salió Israel y plantó su tienda más allá de Migdal Edar. Aconteció que cuando moraba Israel en aquella tierra, fue Rubén y durmió con Bila, la concubina de su padre, lo cual llegó a saber Israel. Ahora bien, los hijos de Israel fueron 12. Los hijos de Lea, Rubén, el primogénito de Jacob, Simeón, Levi, Judá, Isaacar y Zabulón. Los hijos de Raquel, José y Benjamín. Los hijos de Bila, sierva de Raquel, Dan y Neftalí. Y los hijos de Silpa, sierva de Lea, Gad y Aser. Estos fueron los hijos de Jacob, que le nacieron en Padam Aram. Después vino Jacob a Isaac su padre a Mamre, a la ciudad de Arba, que es Hebrón, donde habitaron Abraham e Isaac, y fueron los días de Isaac 180 años. Y exhaló Isaac el espíritu, y murió, y fue recogido a su pueblo viejo y lleno de días, y lo sepultaron Esaú y Jacob sus hijos.
We read of the sons of Israel.
Leemos de los hijos de Israel.
There were 12 of them. 12.
Los 12.
Reuben has a sexual relationship with Israel's concubine Bilhah.
Rubén tiene una relación sexual con la concubina de Israel, Bilha.
We can read of another individual who had his father's wife in 1 Corinthians chapter 5.
Podemos leer de otro individuo que tenía la esposa de su padre en 1 Corintios capítulo 5.
In 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 1.
1 Corintios capítulo 5 verso 1.
It is reported commonly that there is fornication among you, and such fornication as is not so much as named among the Gentiles, that one should have his father's wife.
De cierto se oye que hay entre vosotros fornicación, y tal fornicación cual ni aun se nombra entre los gentiles, tanto que alguno tiene la mujer de su padre.
This is not acceptable. God is not pleased with this.
Esto no es aceptable. Dios no está contento con esto.
Notice Genesis chapter 49, verses 3 through 4, when Jacob blesses Reuben, he mentions this event.
Note Génesis capítulo 49, verso 3 al 4, cuando Jacob bendice a Rubén, menciona este evento.
Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defilest thou it. He went up to my couch.
Génesis capítulo 49, verso 3 al 4. Rubén, tú eres mi primogénito, mi fortaleza, y el principio de mi vigor, principal en dignidad, principal en poder, impetuoso como las aguas, no serás el principal, por cuanto subiste al lecho de tu padre. Entonces te envileciste subiendo a mi estrado.
Jacob travels to see his father Isaac, and Isaac dies an old man.
Jacob viaja para ver a su padre Isaac, e Isaac muere anciano.
104 years old, or 180 years old.
180 years old. 180 años.
Yeah. King James says 104 score, but that's 180.
Yeah.
And of course, note, and I didn't put this in here, note there in verse 29 that Esau and Jacob buried him.
35:29.
35:29 there at the last, Esau and Jacob buried him.
Génesis capítulo 35, verso 29. Y exhaló Isaac el espíritu y murió y fue recogido a su pueblo, viejo y lleno de días, y lo sepultaron Esaú y Jacob sus hijos.
Esau, Jacob buried him. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
¿Alguno tiene alguna pregunta o comentario?
Bill, you have anything? And by the way, what does it say in the New King James? Acacia, maybe?
I'll spell it. Teredinca.
Let me see that, Bill.
It's just about what I was.
Got parts of it now. Sarah. Then my guess is, and Jim, if he were here tonight, could probably give you a better understanding of it. But I'm guessing that oak is probably not the best translation of that, because I'm not sure oak trees are even over there. But you can ask Jim that. I've heard him talk about some of that stuff before. I don't know if he's watching tonight. If he is, maybe he can let us know sometime about it. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
What did you say the name Jacob meant?
Jacob is means heel catcher.
Heel catcher.
Heel catcher, because whenever they were born, you recall, what did he do? He grabbed a hold of Esau's heel, so they named him Jacob. Names in the Bible often have significant meanings. If you look at what they're named, their names actually tells you what they're like. You notice that, but yeah, Jacob meant heel catcher, and Israel, which is what his name is changed to, meant he will rule, or I will rule as God. He will rule as God is what it means. And again, keep in mind that it does, there is something in a name. Hay algo en un nombre. Yeah, heel catcher, guarda tacones. And then he will rule as God. El gobernará como Dios. And so that is, again, you notice the difference. We talked about that with Abram and changing to Abraham, and Sarai, or however you pronounce that, to Sarah. It does have a meaning. Their names do have a meaning, and there is a significance in God changing their name, because they're changing. Jacob behaved differently after his name was changed to Israel. And you see in God calling him, God goes, and we did as well in presenting it, but God goes back and forth some in calling Jacob sometimes, and Israel at others, and you can watch his behavior in those times. So there is a significance to the names. Anyone else? Not, we're going to break off. We'll be in chapter 36 next week. So be studying that for next week. We appreciate, of course, hopefully we had some tune in. We have some who are out this evening because of health. Keep them in our prayers, and of course, maybe they were able to join and watch or listen on the web station, and hopefully they'll be better and back next week. Um, for those who were listening on the radio or web station, we're going to start over with the lesson we were playing before we went to our Bible class.